Hey, I'm Dr. Achyuthan Eswar. I'm the co-founder of nutritionscience.in and sampurnaahara.com, and I'm super excited to be speaking with you today. I'm a plant-based physician. I specialize in lifestyle medicine. And today I'd like to share with you my story, my personal story. When I was young, when I was about, I think, 12 years old or so, I had this dream that I was stranded in a desert island. There was no one around to help me. I was all alone. And there were wolves and vultures and cheetahs and all kinds of animals in my imagination circling around. The sun was setting, and I was so sick that I couldn't move to defend myself from all of these predators. So, in my mind, I was scared, I was alone, I was helpless. Thankfully, I woke up then and I realized I was covered in sweat. I was so scared that night. And I realized that if there was a way by which I could have healed myself without medicine somehow in that dream, then I could have saved myself and I need not have been scared. That thought stuck with me, although it was a random stray thought in a random stray dream. The next morning, I went to my parents and said, "Hey, you've been asking me what I'd like to do when I grow up, what I'd like to do in life. And I think this is something I'd like to explore. I would like to heal without medicines. Because if we can do that, then the accessibility is infinite. Anyone, anywhere in the world, even if they don't have access to any kind of medications, can be healthy, can reverse diseases, can prevent diseases, need not suffer from pain or illness." And my parents said, "Well, that sounds good, but we have no clue how to do that." So we spent years after that figuring out what this could mean. And finally, I decided to become a yoga and naturopathy physician. And I went to college, I graduated as a doctor, and I was now licensed to heal people without medicines through a healthy diet, through a healthy lifestyle, through natural therapies like fasting, like acupuncture, drugless therapies like water therapy. There were so many amazing, close to miracles that could happen, that were based in evidence-based nutrition and science and research, where I could now help people without medicines. And at this time, I was helping through when I was studying, I used to help my family members. When my internship, I helped hundreds of patients. I graduated, I set up a clinic, and I started doing consultations for people. People would come talk to me and start reversing diseases like diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, obesity, and get better. They'd get lower blood sugars, lower blood pressure, and lose weight easily. And it felt so wonderful to be able to do all of this. And this journey really helped me to see what is this most powerful aspect of healthy living, is our food, our nutrition. Food plays like 80% of the role in staying healthy, and the remaining 20% comes from other things like exercise and mental relaxation, and not feeling stressed even if we are subjected to stressful situations. So when in my journey to learn about food, I went through a number of different phases. I learned about the traditional kind of nutrition where you have carbohydrate, fat, protein, and deficiency diseases and all of that back in college. And then I learned a little more about the food system at large. I learned that I also watched this documentary called Earthlings, and that was a powerful documentary that showed me how animals are treated in the animal industry. I learned that milk that we drink doesn't come from cows. Milk comes from mothers, and cows only give milk when they get pregnant and give birth to a calf. They make milk for their babies. And what do we do in farms today? They take away the calf, they feed the calf a formula milk, and then they take the cow's milk and sell it to human beings. I learned that, and this is something that I never knew before, and and I learned that male calves who are born into the dairy industry don't even make it beyond the first few weeks of life. Like more than 90% of the cattle in India are all female, they're cows. Where are all the bulls? When they are born, within 2 weeks or a month, they are slaughtered because nobody pays for them. We only pay for the milk, so the farmers are only able to take care of the cows. And then the cows are artificially inseminated. They don't give birth naturally. They go through so much of torture and abuse just because we pay only for the milk. So that's the only thing that's incentivized for the farmer. When I learned all of this, I made a resolution that I am not going to pay for that anymore. I'm not going to consume it anymore. So I stopped consuming dairy products. I was already vegetarian, so I didn't consume meat, I didn't consume eggs, which were also products of the same industry where chickens were bred and killed for their meat. And instead of living for years on this planet, they just lived for a month and a half. And egg laying chickens, every egg could have become a child of that chicken. And chickens in the wild lay like 10 to 15 eggs a year. Chickens in captivity, I learned, lay up to 300 eggs a year, which is a huge amount and takes a huge toll on their body and makes them sick. But we do that because their farmers are paid only for those eggs. So when I learned all of this, I decided to stop consuming animal products completely. I even went to the extent that I will stop using leather and silk and wool. I never bought anything made from those ever again. In fact, I used to play mridangam back in my childhood. I loved playing it, and then when it was time to change, you need to change the skin of the mridangam from time to time because it gets old and it stops giving you the sound that sounds good. Then I realized when I went to the store to get it changed, they said that it's made from calf skin. And I said, no way, I don't want to use calf skin to, I'm not going to pay for that anymore. So I stopped playing mridangam until I found until I found a mridangam that's made without calf skin, that's made with synthetic material. Then I started playing using that and I enjoyed it after that. Yeah, and that was the start of my food journey when I learned how connected it was to the way the world works and the way we interact with other living beings. And taking animal foods and consuming them not only causes harm to those animals, but it also causes harm to the climate. Animal agriculture today is the leading cause for climate change because of so many different factors. One simple example is the 10% rule. If you study ecology, you come to know that any time a living being consumes energy and lives, only about 10% of that energy is actually utilized to go to the next level. So when plants consume sunlight to make energy, only 10% of that sunlight is there in the plant. And then when animals consume plants for their own survival, sustenance, 10% of that plant's energy comes to the animal. So that's only 1% of the original. And the same way, when animals consume other animals, it's 10% of what that animal has consumed over its lifetime. So it's just 1% of what the plants had that you end up consuming. So you need to grow that much more plants just to get that much energy to sustain yourself. Eating some amount of meat or eggs or dairy products means that you need to grow 10 times that many calories in plants at the bare minimum to be able to consume that much. The actual number is far more because of so many other factors, but just like a direct equation is at the bare minimum 10 times more. So when I realized all of this, I started changing my diet. I started moving away from animal foods, moving away from dairy products towards a more plant-based diet. And then I wondered, what impact does this have on my health? And I realized that it has a huge impact. In fact, it may be one of the most important things. There was this study called the Global Burden of Disease study that I came across. So this is funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, BMGF. And since the year, I think since before I was born, since 1990, every year they've been documenting across like almost all the countries in the world what is the leading causes of death, what are the leading risk factors of death, why do people fall sick, why do people get disabled, and why do people die. And what they found was the number one cause of death in India and across the world is heart disease. Heart attacks kill more people than any other cause of death today. And this was never the fact several years ago, like 1947, when India gained independence. The city of Madras, Corporation of Madras, which is I think the biggest city or one of the biggest cities in India at that time, they published their annual health report. And in this report, they mentioned what are the top leading diseases in the city, why are people falling sick, why are they dying. And you'd expect heart disease to be there, right? Today it's the number one cause of death. Must have been there for at least some people at that time. And the word heart appears two times in that entire report. The first referring to congenital heart defects, which are genetic, which is not related to your lifestyle. So children born with congenital heart defects. And the second one, a tigress that died from heart failure in the Madras Zoo. There's no mention of heart disease. There's no diabetes. There's no hypertension. There's no obesity. There's no asthma. No cancer. The diseases which are so common today, which most people suffer from, were absent. They were not there. Very, very few people suffered from them. So few that in the entire city, they said this is just not worth mentioning. Don't even worry about it. 1947. And today, it's the leading cause of death. And when I learned about this, I realized that, that's the area that I would like to work in. I'd like to address the biggest problems in India today because that's what makes most sense. And I started digging into this. And the same study, the Global Burden of Disease study, showed that these diseases, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, may be because of an unhealthy diet and lifestyle. In fact, the year when I looked into it, I think a year or two back, it said that the leading risk factor for death in India, the reason why we get these diseases, is an unhealthy diet. A diet where we don't eat enough fruits, we don't eat enough vegetables, we don't eat enough whole grains, we don't eat enough dals and nuts and seeds, and we eat too much of meat, too much of eggs, too much of oil, too much of fried food. And those are the reasons why we die and get these diseases, and die in India. And I looked into the history. When did these diseases start? Why did they start? And I found in 1961, very interesting study. So this was called an autopsy study where researchers from Madras, South India, they took 500 people who had died and studied their bodies. The reason they did this was because they wanted to find out how many people in India already have heart disease, but they just don't know about it. Like for example, people like you and me, who we are healthy, I've never been diagnosed with heart disease. So why should I think about it, right? So these researchers wanted to find out for people like you and me, how many of us already have the disease, but we just don't know about it. It doesn't show up in the tests. And they took 500 people who had died from unrelated causes like accidents, unfortunately passed away, but they were healthy when they passed away. And in those 500 bodies, they cut open the chest, took out a piece of the artery from the heart, the coronary artery, put it under a microscope to study how many people in India in 1961 had heart disease and didn't know it. And what they found, they thought that they'll get a small number, like it was not very common, it was quite rare, so small numbers, what they were expecting. What they found shocked them. They found that above the age of 20, 100% of Indians already had the starting stages of heart disease, which means if you're sitting in this room, you're listening to this talk, you're around or over 20 years of age, most likely you already have heart disease. And I was shocked when I found this out because I was in college, I was around 20 years old, and I was like, what? I have heart disease? And I can't believe it. And it was true. So I told my family, look, it's not that we can't just wait to fall sick anymore, because we need to fix our heart disease today, as ridiculous as it sounds. It may be true. And the way we can do that is by moving away from animal foods and processed foods, which have been proven to cause heart disease, towards a whole food plant based diet, which is the only diet that has been proven to reverse heart disease in a majority of people until today. Uh, so my family and I started eating more whole food plant based, which means more whole foods, foods in their natural form without any kind of processing done to them. Foods like fruits and vegetables and dals, pulses and legumes, nuts and seeds, whole grains like red rice, brown rice, and whole wheat and millets. And we ate less processed food, less animal food, and we slowly started eliminating those food groups from our lifestyle. And we felt better than ever before. I used to have a really horrible acne as a child, lots of pimples all over my forehead and cheeks. And in just 2 months' time, all those acne, those pimples completely cleared up, and I had clear skin for the first time ever since I could remember. That felt great. And I used to be 81 kgs in school. I was always the plump kid in class, and within 6 months, I lost all of that excess weight. I reached 61 kgs. I reached my ideal weight zone, and I felt better than ever before. I had more energy. I could run around more. I never felt tired after playing. I could play for like 2 hours of cricket, 2 hours of football, come back home and study, read, walk around at home, not wake up with aching arms and legs the next day, sleep well, and life felt great. And when I became a doctor, I started, practicing plant-based nutrition. I started practicing lifestyle medicine, where I taught people about how to eat healthy and live healthy easily, so you can stay healthy and live a longer, healthier life with your loved ones, which at the end of the day is all that matters, right? And I learned that the hard way, and I'd like to share that story with you as well. Eh, After we changed our diet and lifestyle in 2014, 4 years later in 2018, my mother and my mentor, my closest friend, was diagnosed with breast cancer. She underwent chemotherapy. The doctor had scheduled a surgery for her after 3 cycles of chemo, and she finished the 3 cycles. She did a rescan, went back to the doctor. Doctor looked at her report and said, "Wow, I'm surprised. The tumor has shrunk so much. I'm canceling this surgery. Let's do it at a later date and let's do a smaller one." It felt so good. All her diet and lifestyle changes had helped her to fight that cancer off so well. And for the next few years, she would tell everyone, I owe my survival to eating healthy, to eating plant based and living healthy, to practicing yoga every day. But few years later, in October 2022, she was diagnosed once again with metastatic breast cancer. And this time, we tried all the possible treatments, from chemotherapy to alternative therapies, but unfortunately, none of them worked. And my closest friend through my life passed away almost exactly a month back to this date. It's the most difficult times that we've ever been through as a family. If you've lost a family member, you'll know the pain that we're going through. If you haven't, then I hope that you never have to experience it. Losing a close family member is something that is so difficult to go through in so many ways. And my mother's disease, breast cancer, is a disease that is closely linked to her lifestyle. And I always think that when I go to sleep every night, I think, Isn't there something else I could have done? I wish that I knew about a plant-based diet earlier. I wish that we had not drunk so much of milk. I wish that we did not eat so much of cheese through our life. In fact, if I could exchange all the dairy I consumed for one more day with my mother today, then I would. It may be too late for her, but it's not too late for you and me. We can make those changes today. We can take a stand. We can take a decision. We can change the way we eat today. And we can live a longer, healthier life with our loved ones that we have in this world today. Research has shown that when we eat healthier younger, then we stay healthier as we grow older. The diet that we eat from 0 to age 10, the diet that we eat up to age 20 may be much more important than the diet we eat from age 20 to age 50, 60, which means that if you choose to eat a plant-based meal today, if you choose to eat oil-free today, if you choose to skip that glass of milk or drink almond milk instead today, then it may be, it may play a role in helping you live that one day more. It may play a role in helping you avoid complications in the future and live healthier, live happier, and maybe even live longer with your loved ones. Now, the health benefits, the environmental benefits, and the prevention of cruelty benefits of avoiding animal foods and eating a plant-based diet are proven multiple times over and over and over again. If you want to learn more about it, you can look it up online. You can check out our website nutritionscience.in, where we have several recipes. We have more than 200 recipes that you can try out, where we teach you how to make these changes, how to make plant-based milk, how to make almond milk, peanut milk, soya curds, how to make coconut curds, how to make pachadi, raita, how to make paneer dishes, how to make sweets without sugar, how to make, but absolutely delicious, how to make pizzas, how to make pasta, how to make any dish that you like and enjoy eating using whole food plant-based healthy ingredients. You can, there are courses we have where you can learn hands-on how to cook these dishes and how to make these lifestyle changes for yourself and for your family. If anyone in your family is suffering from chronic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, or heart disease, they can access those courses and learn them too, and get healthier and stay healthier. And then on Sampurna Ahara is India's first whole food plant-based social enterprise. It was my mother's inspiration to start Sampurna Ahara and our mission to continue it and achieve her vision. And what we do is we prepare meals and home deliver them. We make sugar-free sweets, desserts, we make all kinds of cakes and goodies and crunchy snacks and crackers and cookies and pizzas and pastas and more than 200, 300 different goodies that are so delicious yet made only using whole food plant-based ingredients. I'll give you an example, right? This is our flaxseed B12 laddu. It's made from literally 3 ingredients: flax seeds, which are the healthiest seeds out there. They have a high content of lignans, which are anti-cancer, and they lower BP as much as the leading antihypertensive medications, which is proven. And number 2, dates, which is a whole food sweetener. We use dates instead of sugar or jaggery or honey to make things sweet, and fortified with vitamin B12. And you can make laddus like this you can get this from Sampurna Ahara if you like. It's absolutely delicious. You can even make laddus like this at home. The recipes are up on our website, or simple recipes to just take some cashews and raisins, put them in a mixie, grind them up and make laddus from them. Just like make them into laddus. Put some cardamom powder if you like. Super simple. You don't need to like take a cauldron of milk and stir it for hours to make a nice laddu. You can just make it with nuts and seeds instead. There are endless, the possibilities are endless. There are mock meats that you can choose instead of animal based meats. which are made from plant-based ingredients. There are cultured meats. If you really want the taste of animal meat, you're not able to go without it, then you can get lab-grown meats in many places today, which are slowly being introduced. But now mock meats are available, made from plant-based foods, but taste exactly the same, feel exactly the same as animal-based meats. And those are called transition foods. You can use them while transitioning from your regular diet to a whole food plant-based diet. And and then over time you'll find that you don't really crave it anymore, you don't need it anymore, and you can just survive easily without them. And you can check out Samayu's website for more information and data on plant-based nutrition, plant-based agriculture, and plant-based systems that make this world a better place for us to live in. And I hope this talk helped you to open your eyes to a few of the facts behind plant-based eating, behind our food systems, our health systems, and behind how to eat for your better health and for the better health of your families. And I hope it was useful. I hope it was interesting. I hope the stories were fun to listen to, and I hope you're taking away something useful from this talk back home to your loved ones. My request to each and every one of you, my personal request, is to take the knowledge that you've gained from this talk and not keep it to yourself. Please spread it. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with everyone that you care about, because living a healthy life may be the best way to actually live longer and healthier. I wish you the best of health, and I wish you all best of happiness. Take care and be blessed. I'm Dr. Achyuthan Eswar, and I'm truly humbled to have this opportunity to speak with you today. Be blessed.